Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Troy Cunningham here again. It's been a few days, and I thought I'd just come back with you with another video this morning. I'm sitting out here in the yard, and it's a beautiful summer morning, and hear the birds chirping, and the cicadas and the locusts are doing their buzzing. It's the middle of August, and they're doing their thing. And so I thought I'd come out here and sit in the golf cart a minute and do my thing, and it's good to be back with you. I want to share some thoughts with you. There's a verse of Scripture in Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13, that says, "Let us hear the whole conclusion of a matter." And it talks about fearing God, and that's the duty of our nature, of mankind, is to fear the Lord. But I thought about those words, "Let us hear the conclusion of a matter," and I wanted to talk today about jumping to conclusions, and how that we INFJs sometimes are prone, at least I'm speaking from experience, okay? I'm not throwing any stones at anybody. I'm here to tell you about my problem, my experience. But we tend to want to jump to conclusions because of our intuition, perhaps, and the idea that the thought that we feel like we know things, perhaps that nobody knows but us, and sometimes we're right, and sometimes we're not right. I'll be honest with you, I've not got 100% success rate in that, and because of that, many times I'll jump to conclusions without hearing the entire story, without really knowing the whole matter. And so I was thinking about this last night. I was trading Bitcoin, not Bitcoin, but a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. And I was using my crypto app on my phone and trading currencies. And one of the currencies that I'm heavily invested in started to just plummet. I mean, it began to fall quickly. And panic set in. I thought, oh, my goodness, I'm losing money. I'm gonna lose a lot of money if I'm not careful. And so it leveled off a little bit. And I thought, well, I can live with that. I've lost a little bit. I lost all my gains, and I thought, well, I can kind of live with that. Maybe it'll level off right here. And then all of a sudden, it started to plunge again. And I said, oh, no, here we go. And I started losing many, many more dollars. And so, my daughter kept saying, Dad, just wait. It'll come back. Don't get in a hurry. Don't sell. Don't do this. And then it took another plunge. And that time, I panicked. I said, I'm going to lose everything if I don't get out. So I pulled the plug, I sold my coins, and got out. And I lost a lot of money. And then it cost me quite a bit of money to sell what I had. So I lost, it was a lose-lose proposition. Well, later on, I seen it was starting to come back. It was starting to come back really good, just like my daughter said. But my intuition kept telling me, no, just stop. You've lost enough, stop. And my daughter kept nagging me, Dad, So I jumped back in. Well, that cost me even more money to get back in. I got back in at a certain price, and then it plummeted again, and it's lost, I don't know how much this morning, and I've lost even more money. And I finally thought, you know what, it's there, it's staying there. If I lose it all, it's fine. If I do, whatever, But I thought about how that I jumped to conclusions. In fact, if I had waited, like she told me to begin with, and not pulled the gun, it did climb for a little while back to a place where I would have recouped every dollar that I had and would have got out with basically the shirt on my back, which was the shirt that I invested. So I would have got back what I put in it. But I didn't wait. I was panicking. I was in a hurry. I jumped to conclusions, and it cost me. And I thought, how many times in my life have I jumped to conclusions about things that I didn't really fully grasp or understand, or didn't even really take the time to try to understand it. And so I jumped to, speedy conclusions, and I've lost, good things in my life. I've lost not only stuff and things, and maybe even monetary things, but I've lost people. I've lost friends. I've lost people that I loved, people that I cared about, by jumping to conclusions. By thinking things were one way when really they weren't that way at all. But I had it in my mind that it's this way. It's, and because of that, I did what I did last night. I pulled the plug and I said, you know, I'm getting out, I'm cutting my losses, and I'm running. And if I'd have just waited a little bit longer, I'd have found out, wait a minute, you didn't lose what you thought you did. You just got in a hurry and you took your toys and you ran home. So I wonder, you know, as an INFJ, how has this affected you? I know myself, it's affected me for years, you know, jumping to conclusions. And my friends and family tell me many times, you know, you jump to conclusions, you don't know the whole story. You know, stop and just think about what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're fixing to do. And sometimes for me, that's tough because, you know, my intuition wants to conclude everything. I don't like loose ends. I hate loose ends. I hate, you know, going to bed with loose ends in my mind because loose ends torment us. You know, we think about them. We stew about them. You know, I laid in bed last night and thought about my money, you know. And then when I got back in, you know, I want to pick up my phone. I want to look at the app. I want to look at how much it's going up, how much it's going down, how much have I gained, how much have I lost. And it drives my overthinking just goes crazy. This morning when it hit a new low, I thought, man, I ought to buy right now. You know, it's cheap. It's dirt cheap. But I was scared it would go even cheaper. And so I didn't buy. My daughter said, Dad, you ought to buy. You know, it's a good time to get in. No, I'm not. I'm scared. And I had money in there to reinvest. I didn't reinvest everything last night. And if I had done that, I'd have made back a lot of my money within the first 30 minutes because it skyrocketed. I mean, when it hit bottom, it shot straight back up, and I would have made a lot of money. Well, there again, I jumped to conclusions. My mind said, they're pulling the plug on it. It's going down to nothing. It's going to be drained. It's going to be whatever. Even though the fundamentals, the basics, every fundamental for that particular coin is stable. You know, it's got a lot of good things going for it. But because of my, you know, overreaction, because of my willingness to jump to conclusions, I'm going to stand to lose a lot of money because of how I think, you know, what I've done. And I've lost good friends the same way. People that I know were good people. People I know that cared about me. People that I knew that had my best interest. And but because of some little something that just didn't quite go my way, I jumped to conclusions. And, you know, immediately I thought, oh, there's something wrong with them. Many times, traumas in our past will cloud our intuition. You know, because maybe good, in every relationship you're going to find positives and negatives. And I don't care, you know, not every negative is a bad, toxic negative. You know, sometimes, you know, negative things are said and done to us from good people. And it's not because they hate us, maybe because they see something in us that, you know, they might, you know, see that we can improve on or whatever. And sometimes I'll get my feelings hurt because people will tell me, preacher, you know, you did this or you said that. Or, you know, I've had my own family tell me, you shouldn't have got up there and said that. You know, you shouldn't have mentioned that. And I'll think, whoa, you know, who are you to tell me that? But I've had toxic people in the past tell me the same stuff, but, you know, with a different motive. They were out to really destroy me, you know. And I know that the people closest to me, people that know me and love me, they don't have that kind of interest in them. They're not trying to destroy me. They're really trying to help me. And I had to go to a man years ago. I pulled the plug on. He was a pastor, a friend of mine. He's in his 80s now, but back then he was, you know, in his late 60s, early 70s when he was my pastor. And he came to me one time and he shared some things that were troubling him about my ministry, some things I'd said, some things I'd done. And I mean, I was hurt. I was devastated. I pulled the plug. I sold my house. I moved. I got away from him. And today, me and him are the closest friends. We are good friends. He is a mentor of mine. It didn't take me long to look back in life and realize that that man was not being mean to me. And in fact, he was trying to help me, and he loved me. And he was really like a father to me. And now I wished, you know, I'd never pulled the plug so quickly on such a good man. But I jumped to conclusions because I've had other people that have said negative things to me, that only done it for my detriment, that only wanted to see me go down. And so that clouded my intuition, you know, because I wanted to jump to conclusions that this man was the same way as all those other people that wanted to destroy me. So, you know, sometimes we need to listen to the conclusion of a matter before we just jump to conclusions that may or may not be so. So that's just something I wanted to share with you, you know, because I know how it has affected my life down through the years, and it affected me last night. And so how has this affected you? I mean, as an INFJ, do you find yourself jumping to conclusions, and sometimes people have to say, hey, you know, slow down, you know, wait. It's not exactly the way you think. So share with me in the comments and let me know. I'd really appreciate it. I love and appreciate every one of you. It's good to have some new subscribers, and if you're not subscribed, please do so. We'd love to have you here. And anyway, I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful day. Take care.